Hello, Ryder Hearts. I'm Ryder.
And I'm Hearts. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and a very happy Eid Mubarak to all of you. I hope you all are having a wonderful Eid. And wherever you people are, whether you're visiting your relatives or are at home alone, I hope this Eid is very special for you all. Thank you for tuning in.
Welcome to the very first episode of the Ryder Hearts podcast. Before we start, we'd like to give a big thanks to you guys as supporters, as well as the donors who allow us to do what we do.
Yes, without your support, we could not be starting out as wonderfully as we are, and we are continuing on new content and ideas as we learn and grow.
As we have no sponsors to mention today, let's get into the podcast.
As we had said before, our today's main focus is Sayonara Wild Hearts. As we mentioned in our intro, if you want to play the game, it's available on Steam, Apple Arcade, PS, Xbox, and Switch. We hope you enjoy our pilot episode.
Alright, so let's get started. How are you?
I'm doing just fine. How about you, Ryder?
I am okay, Heart. So our topic today was Sayonara Wild Hearts?
Yes, today is that's the one.
All right.
What we're going to be talking about. To
Sounds
introduce
like
this game, people will try to need a base for it. So we'll try to provide something for you guys, so you guys have an idea of what this game's like. But personally, I have played the game, and so has Ryder. We are both major fans of this small, indie, underrated game that is absolutely amazing to play.
Yeah, it was 2019. It was a 4-year project. I think it came out in 2019.
Yes,
it came out in 2019, but it was being worked on since 2015, which
it was
awesome.
And the creators of this project were actually Swedish creators and Sumogo, one of them, was the developer, and the people who published this game was Annapurna Interactive, and they made it. Yeah,
they made it, they published it, and they were also like the publishers. They make a lot of big games, like that cat game Stray.
Which one? Oh, that's Stray. Oh yeah,
Annapurna published that one.
That's actually quite cool. I didn't know that. I've yet to play that cat game.
You should get it. It's like, people don't realize it, but a lot of the big games actually come from the small indie companies.
And they really don't get that much recognition. And I feel like Sumogo should get a lot of recognition because
they worked super hard. Even the game I was talking about, Thirsty Suitors or whatever, that newer one I was playing.
Yeah, you didn't mention that one. I never got around to playing it. Yeah.
It was made by Outer Loops, but it was published by Annapurna.
Oh, so basically Annapurna just took like two small indie companies and gave them the push to have them be famous. And because Annapurna had Interactive had published Sayonara Wild Hearts, the game became famous because of that in 2019, and it was a massive hit. Like magazines, gaming websites, and it got the Game of the Year award by Apple Arcade in 2019.
It did? Oh, it did? I didn't know that. I know it got BAFTA awards and stuff. I know it got some awards for like its music.
It was nominated for BAFTA awards.
This is my favorite game ever. Like all the colors I use when I'm working and stuff, even some of my ideas and the smoothness, that is all thanks to Sayonara Wild Hearts. It's like one of the best games I've ever played. It is the only game I really care for. It's like multiplayer games like T3 Arena, which is like a 3v3 shooter for mobile, and Flash Party, which is basically kind of like Smash Brothers, but not the same style. But it's also mobile and PC. It's like those multiplayer games where you pay to win or you can buy power-ups. It's no fun. It's not as good as a single-player game like Sayonara.
That's fair. The game Sayonara is a lot different from the games I've played in life, and it was something new, something fresh on the take, because it's a relaxing game and I've never had that type of vibe with it, and I think it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I think so. They had 23 songs. They had a few that you could clearly tell were supposed to be like hits. They had wording in it. It had an actual beat, and then they had more like background music-ish songs that were kind of like small parts that were supposed to connect the game together.
That's okay. I like that there. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
That's
what
okay.
I was going to say about it is that the first time you mentioned it to me, I had never heard of this game. So when I did look at it and I had seen the trailer, like, oh my god, it's so
It's so
hip. It's
poppy, so flashy.
poppy, upbeat, and the if anyone like wants to know what this thing is about, in short, it's just a woman who's had her heart broken and she's suffering through heartbreak, and she is transported to to an alternate place, timeline, dimension, whatever you want to call it, and she becomes this heroine who's fighting for her own heartbreak and her feelings, and I think this game really pushes you towards that feeling, because when you do play it and understand and meet all of the characters that are in there, and there may be not any voice lines, but the fast-paced theme and song, the vibe, and obviously the compositions they made are all original except for Claire de Lune, which was by
Claire de
Debussy.
Lune. It was still their own style, and it's with
It was their own style. And Simon had
I
said, yes, go ahead. My bad.
I like the idea that it was like kind of feminine, empowering. It's like
Mm-hmm.
all women. I just love that idea. I feel like a lot
Yeah,
of people would think, "Oh, it's creepy. You're playing a game that's only about women, and you're trying to sexualize it." No, that's honestly the opposite. It's like it's great to see women like games sung by women. I mean, it was created by guys, but they showcased, heartbreak from a woman's side. Queen Latifah was the narrator, which is pretty dang cool. I mean, a lot of games have big people, but Queen Latifah, that's a hard person to get in voice lines and stuff.
true. Dana Elaine Owens is known as Queen Latifah, and Simon in the discussion meeting had said that I want her to narrate the brief voice lines we have for the game, and well, Queen Latifah is like so big, and Simon had just said it as a joke. Actually, he didn't think
Actually
they would
expect,
take it
and from
serious and stuff. Okay,
from what I saw,
yeah.
it was a last minute decision to actually have Queen Latifah narrate the
Mhm.
storyline.
Mhm.
And I just think it's amazing. It's like, oh, all these big publishers like Fortnite or whatever, or Roblox have big people, but it's like, okay, when you make a game that doesn't need lines or a plot or any of that, so to speak, it's like the game, through its visuals and music, kind of shows you what it's about. And that's exactly what Simon said about you want the project to tell you what it's about. You don't want to have to tell people what the project's about.
True. So sorry about that.
It's okay.
Siblings, I tell ya. The thing about this is that he made that joke and no one really took it seriously, but midway somewhere, 1 month into release of the game in September, like I think in October somewhere, Annapurna actually got Queen Latifah last minute, and they got her to voice line all of those, brief lines that they had set out for her, and then they put it in the game.
And
And I
you know
think
what
that's a
was
really cool thing.
What was perfect about it? That's cool. I'm glad they did it. I want to see a Sayonara Wild Hearts 2 come out, but what was really
Yeah.
cool, it's like
Mhm.
adding those little whoas or the
Mhm.
awesome sounds at the end of the levels really added to the game. It made you feel like so cool to be playing it.
True, and the gameplay of the game, like, it's very unique, and it's its own style, and I don't think there are a lot of them in
It
its
really
own unique style, and it's like really rich and embracing and just everywhere, and you feel really connected to it, and it has emotion in it. You don't need words, you just need to see it and play it, and then you feel so connected to it, like, like, what is this and what am I feeling?
right.
Or because
And it's like
and it's a pretty short game. Like, there were 23 levels, and you play as the heroine, and she goes through all these surrealistic landscapes, and the landscapes are so fast paced, and the music that goes along with it
and it's
is
like
just makes it so better, honestly. It just makes it
It
so
is
better.
not okay. This is why higher FPS is better. The more
Mhm.
FPS you have, the
Mhm.
slower the game. Obviously, it's like when you're taking, captures on your Samsung Galaxy or whatever. That's
Mhm.
why it's at 940 FPS for super slow mo, because the more frames per second you have, the slower and smoother the animation is. That is why, like, playing in 165 hertz, like the monitor I use for my gaming is 165 hertz. That's why that's nice, because that game is so fast paced. You're going pretty dang fast, in the
Mhm.
game, and it
Mhm.
does take some tries for you to get good at it. But that's why having that smooth animation and that slower, you know, the slower visuals, that's really nice. And then, oh man, I can't tell you. You could go check out their whole playlist is on Spotify. Just type in Sayonara Wild Hearts. They made some good music, and Linnea Olsen, Daniel Olsen, Jonathan Ang, man.
Yeah, honestly, it was an amazing set of composition, and even as a person who had never heard the songs, I approved of all of them, even for the first time I had heard them, because it soaks you in so good that you just want to keep playing it. And there are ranks in the game: bronze, silver, gold, and the highest is gold. You got to collect all the hearts, as the game suggests, and the more hearts you collect, the more points you get, and you can always replay it without it having a timer and stuff. So I
I mean,
think it's a really
yeah,
cool
it's nice
concept.
that it's not like it doesn't feel rushed, and they will
Yeah,
eventually, if you wipe out enough times, they'll ask you if you want to skip certain parts of the game, but
yeah,
that's
yeah.
your choice, and you can either continue on until you get through it, or you can just skip on. And the thing is, there's also wild rank. If you beat YOLO Arcade, which means you only get one life throughout all 23 levels, yeah, you unlock wild rank, and that means you can. If you get a higher score than gold, you will get wild.
That's actually pretty cool. I've yet to try that, but if I
I
do, I'll
have
let you know.
only beaten, in all the years I've played the game, it came out in 2019. I have only beaten YOLO Arcade once. So it's pretty
Still a
hard
good
to get,
achievement.
yeah, to get through every single level together with one life only. It's complicated. It's a good challenge.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, when you when you look at it and you think that, okay, this is just some maybe different platform game, but once you really get into it, it's just something more, and there is an entire story behind it, even if we can't tell properly. And
Of
it's just
course,
it puts me into an in a state of awe that they actually came up with all of this. Like, it's
I
crazy.
just can't believe it's like the animation is so good. It's simple graphics. It's like not even a gigabyte big, and yet it's so modern and up to date. And they use like a lot of themes from Mario and other different games. It's like basically a collection in their own style of music and games. That like even
Mm-hmm.
the mechanics. It's just crazy, and oh my god, it's like the
And
end
like,
too.
mm-hmm.
But yeah. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting for you.
Oh, I was done. I'm good, man.
Oh, okay. My point on that was the creators of this game really chose a nice of like a really nice name, because the name of the game Sayonara Wild Hearts is something you will have to remember because of how unique it is. And they wanted a unique name, and they wanted an impact on the music and gaming community because they integrated both of them together. And I think that's a pretty good marketing strategy, but at the same time, it's a pretty good product of what they made. And the small indie company, Simogo and Annapurna, like they collaborated. Annapurna actually helped them so much in releasing this because they had, hired two more programmers for them and got the game out faster. And Annapurna had actually had a better schedule for them to work on, so it gave them better ideas and stuff. And they were, really working around the works in the beginning of the early stages of the game when they had a prototype and they were like, okay, what's our first choice of music going to be? What do we want it to be? Simon
Yeah,
was
how do
asking
we
his team
want it
like,
to sound, so to
how do we
speak?
want it to sound? What do we want it to be? And they first went for the option of surf music. And I believe surf music is like a little on the, I don't know, surf
I
music
don't know how
for
to
that
know.
type
I
of
feel
game.
like it would be like wavy. I don't know, like you've ever heard those surf riffs whenever somebody's surfing, kind of like,
Yeah, California
oh
themed surf riffs,
yeah,
Beach
kind
Boys
of like.
LA something.
What instrument is that? But yeah, you if you hear, whenever a surfer, you just hear that certain style of music, and I'm glad they didn't go with that. I don't feel, especially the visuals,
hmm
it would not have gone with.
I don't think that when you are going through the fast-paced lane, you want to hear seagulls,
Yeah, exactly, or coconuts.
coconuts, or
Oh my
the
god,
Hawaiian music.
Hawaii, that Hawaiian music. That's like calm. Yeah, that's
That's like
not made
surf
for.
calm music, yeah.
Yeah, but no, thank you to everybody who made that game possible. Even like the other
Honestly, yeah.
people, like I am
hmm
8-bit. They helped sell merch for it and stuff. Even Unity, the publishers who helped with publishing, not even just that, but there was like, for their fonts and stuff, and the people like Apple Arcade. This is on Apple Arcade. If you guys get Apple Arcade on your iPhones, you can play the game on mobile. I recommend it for like PC or Switch, but you can get it on your phone if you got an iPhone.
True, because they put it on platforms where it was really accessible for people to play, and I think that's a really nice and generous thing for them to do.
I think
Um,
they should have put it on Android too. That's the issue, is a lot of companies advocate towards Apple and make stuff for Apple, and then you can't get it on Android. And that's the same with Android. There's a lot of apps I wish I could get on my iPhone that I can't, but
it's okay. I mean, we've played it anyways on other platforms, so it's all right.
right.
It goes for that. Sorry.
But I mean, with Apple,
hmm
it's just easier because it's like $6 a month, and you get all these great games. It's like they got PC games like Farming Simulator, Disney Dreamlight. Like Apple is kind of trying to
I'm not
be
sure
that
how many
mobile.
people would want to play Farming Simulator.
Oh, there's some people who are into that. More country people, maybe. I mean, not to be stereotypical, but I know a lot of people who live out in the middle of nowhere or more country sort of people who play that game, and that's not really my style of game. I'm into like the
Okay,
music. It's like
farming I get, but Goat Simulator, come on.
Goat Simulator. Kind of to me sounds like a ridiculous game. What are you
It
supposed to?
does.
What do you do
Make
in that? It's like an idle tycoon game. You just sit and watch goats
farm
make
goats.
noise.
Farm
Yeah,
goats.
no. That's
But
like that.
we're getting off topic, off the rails.
That's
We
fine. That's what we want to do here a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. The interview that they had with Simon, um, he had said something that really, really stuck with me, to be honest. He had said that this game we wanted to go more with feel rather than it being a logical, complex puzzle type game. And in the beginning of the
'Cause
stages, they were working with, okay, what type of music do we want? And then in the prototype, they had a pop playlist running with music from Sia, Churches, or Carly Rae Jepsen. And
they
once
have a
those
playlist.
music, they
You,
do. But in the
yeah.
beginning stages, I mean, when they were prototyping the game, they had a
Well,
pop playlist running, and they ran the game and they ran the music with it, and they said that, okay, you know what? Simon said to his team, like, oh, you know what? I think that this is it. This is done, and I think that we should work towards pop integrated with a fast-paced, surrealistic landscape type of game.
but it's like that's what I was saying. They actually have the
Mhm.
playlist they were using with a lot of the music that
Yeah.
inspired them to
Yeah,
create.
and the
And
fact that all of the music is their own makes it so much better.
that's so much. I mean, it was worth those 4 years. Usually games,
Yeah.
even with like their own stuff like that, it doesn't take that long, but it was worth. They made sure this game was perfect before it was released, and it never needed
Literal
updates.
perfection.
And
Mhm.
that's kind of what sucks. It's not a live game. At the same time, it's one of the greatest things they could have done, but at the same time,
Mhm.
it sucks. No more new levels,
Mhm.
no more new music.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
hey, they could. end up coming out with the second game. And the games they made in the past, what makes this game so different from all their other games is the games they made in the past were all sort of like puzzle games or interactive stories or stuff. They like Sayonara Wild Hearts is the first game of its kind that they made, and even
It
in
is,
general,
yeah.
it's like just the first game of its style.
That's why so many people had liked it and it was named Game of the Year awards. And even though it got so many awards, I'm surprised it's still underrated. It doesn't get mentioned that much, honestly.
And what upsets me the most is these big people like Jacksepticeye and Markiplier could be supporting these people and playing their games, because it's like,
Honestly, yeah.
I played the game, and even though it's their music in it, they don't copyright that on YouTube. You could be making money off of somebody else's song just to play the game, and you know how many people would probably like watch that sort of stuff, even if it was a live stream? It's just like, it's so frustrating when big people only want to play what's popular or what's going on, you know?
Because they want to hop on the trends and stuff, and Simon just wanted a game where he said, I want more relaxation and a vibe where you don't feel stressed playing this game. You feel calm and nice, and you feel fun. You have fun playing this game. And
Right.
the mechanics of the game aren't even that difficult, because they looked at the mechanics of the game and they were like, we
I
don't
mean,
want
it's
anything
a set
complex.
game. It's like, it's not like an open world thing where you got to completely figure it out yourself. It's like
Yeah,
every
yeah.
time you play the level over and over, it's going to be the same thing, but it's
Same
to the
thing.
point where the mechanics are so interesting it never gets old, so to speak.
And the music makes it better. Like, yeah, sure, maybe you'll get a little bit of an eye seizure because of the fast pace and you're
Oh, it
supposed
is
to
such a
comprehend.
it's one
It
of
is.
those flashy games. If you have epilepsy, I do not recommend this game unless you can do
I
it in
don't
like a
recommend it
gray,
either.
without color or something, because it is a
It's really
flashy,
poppy. Yeah.
fast-paced, colorful game.
It is really, and as a person who doesn't even have epilepsy, I felt like I was having an eye seizure. But
Yeah,
that's
no.
yeah.
It's like you oh my god, the first time Hart was playing this game that I got it for her. And it's like the first time she was playing it, oh my lord, we had so many restarts and I kept like yelling at her. It's like, go over this way, go over that way, don't do that. It's like
I didn't know. It was my first time
not
playing
an
the
easy
levels.
game to learn.
But it is really fun. But you don't have to worry about a time or anything or getting such big awards, because Simon himself had said that we want a game where the levels can be played individually and without any restraint, so you can play them over and over again without any hassle. So it's like a single player game without it being so complicated, and it's not open world where you have to figure out what to do and do your quests or anything like that, because it's not Genshin or Honkai Star Rail.
See,
it's just a simple game
the thing
with
about
simple
that is,
mechanics.
yeah, it's like open world games. There's so many, like Genshin can be so
Genshin is
annoying
already big.
sometimes with all the quests
Genshin
and
is
all the new
already big.
stories and all that
Yeah.
stuff. It's way too big. I downloaded it yesterday on my Galaxy Flip 3. It was 32 gigabytes.
That's insane.
And what's stupid,
literally one SD card on a phone.
what's stupid about that is none of the flagships have SD cards anymore, so it's not like I can just move my music over to its own card,
Not the new
or
models, at least.
add storage. Like once I use up that storage on that phone, that's it.
Yeah, and well, that's pretty much it. And honestly,
Except-
it kind of sucks.
Except
Except
SanDisk makes these USB things that have like a USB-C or iPhone end on one side and a PC USB end on the other side, so you can plug it into your phone.
oh, so like a wireless transport USB
No, it's
device?
like, okay, so there's two sides to the card. One side has the port end for your phone, the other side is the port side for your PC. So you can plug it into your PC and then pull it out and use the other side to plug that into your phone. So it's kind of like basically connecting your phone to a mini computer, a mini storage drive.
Oh, but then it can always be,
Connected
taken
to your
out.
PC. And yes, it can be removed. It's less convenient than an SD card, but it's still pretty cool, especially for phones that don't have SD card storage anymore.
I mean, it's up to the person if they want it and stuff to have this sort of thing for
is,
their
like,
phone.
who wants to pay $900 just for 256 gigabytes? In fact, Looking
That's
at
a
the
little
Flip
too much.
Looking at the Flip 5 comparison from the Flip 4 from the Flip 5 with 256 gigabytes to the Flip 5 with 512 gigabytes, it was like 999. The other one was at least 1,000. It was like 1,100 or something. And I'm like, why are you paying that much for storage? And I know Samsung does a lot of like you'll get a free upgrade with storage if you purchase this, which is
Mm-hmm.
nice. But Apple, they aren't going to do that. And with their stupid Apple Vision Pro, like, people are sending that back. You know how bad that thing
Yeah,
is?
they spent so much money on that and they're sending it back. That's insane.
It's like, at that point, for that price, it's only for like the tech people who want to look
Just
at it or
try it out.
test it and stuff. And I mean, I'm a tech person. But I'm not going to spend the money to get one of those. I'm not an Apple tech person. I mean, I have like iPhones and stuff, but I wouldn't buy one of those just because I'm a light Apple user. Because Apple isn't, obviously neither one's like definitely better. I do prefer Android
Mm-hmm.
more, but Apple has that performance and those few apps and that optimization that Android just doesn't have with their OS.
That's fair, I suppose. And coming back to the game, I wanted to mention something that in an interview, someone had asked Simon on how he completely feels about this project and what he needed on this, and he had said that go with what your heart tells you and what your gut tells you, because I think that's the only way that you will get something that feels like it has something to say or that it's an honest piece of work. Once you start thinking too much about what you're making and what you're
Yeah.
trying to say with it, then there's some kind of intangible magic lost, because the project needs to tell you what it is instead of you telling the project what it is. And I feel like
Is that what that line's from? Also, you cut
yeah,
out a
that is
little bit earlier. What were you saying
yeah,
before?
basically just the short line that I had sent you. It was just a full answer of his of how he feels about
So
this
he's
game and what
basically,
he wanted
yeah,
to
when
do with
somebody
it.
came up and asked about it, he said to go with whatever you feel is right or however you
Mhm.
feel about it.
Mhm.
And I love
Mhm.
that. Like, I love that,
Mhm.
not exactly being bossy or using only his vision. See, I cannot stand people like when Ruby came out for Rooster Teeth, I could not stand Montione because he was like the one person, and it feels like he was like the leader and everybody just worked for him to make his vision come true. Why should he get to have, his vision come true in a show? And even with Casey Lee Williams being like the only person who voiced. I mean, obviously there were other people, but it was 90% her for every single song in that show. I just feel like, more inclusion with your members and people and collaborate. Like, even us, we're both, you're co-owner of Techtopia Interactive. I'm the owner and founder of Techtopia
Mhm.
Interactive. It's not like
Mhm.
everybody below me would be, only working to fit my vision. I would want them to have a say in the content and the stuff we do as well.
That's how teamwork actually works.
So, yeah.
Talking to coworkers and having ideas from it. But obviously, people who are going to have their own take on what they want, I don't think things will last very long. And since Rooster Teeth is shutting down,
Rooster
unfortunately.
Teeth, guys, Rooster Teeth is shutting down. Apparently Warner Bros., who owns them, doesn't feel like the company's making enough money, so they decided to shut them down. And at the same time, while I'm sorry, I feel bad for it. It sucks, but at the same time, that kind of gives, an open space for people like, Smosh and hopefully us to slip into that space, that little bit of open room for new content and media.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Rooster Teeth did well in its time, but
yeah,
since these are
they had
like
their 21 years, and it's like even the
21.
issues with them, I feel, is there's a lot of subliminal like backlash going on between the people. Like one of the two of the people on one of the shows were making fun of the another person who was trans.
Really?
Yeah, there were two members from what I heard that were making fun of a trans person, and I just it's like, yeah, why what is the reason, why are you doing this? And Rooster Teeth, my issue was, okay, let's talk about Texas for a moment. It's like Texas, yes, they never get storms, it's always hot and dry out there, but it's like the minute I made a comment saying the people of Texas should have been prepared, like Rooster Teeth and stuff, that one year they got a really bad snowstorm, and everybody came after me about it. It's like, okay, yes, the government was wrong for not informing the people to take precautions, but at the same time, the government probably knows no more than the citizens do. So it's not that hard to look up, what the weather's going to be. And there should have been weather alerts or weather threats. I doubt they completely left the people of Texas in the dark. It's like people could have prepared for that storm if they wanted to. I mean, that being said, they still might have been closed and stuff, but still, they could have prepared.
Well, I'm not sure what their actual reason was for coming at you for a comment. I feel like people are too petty for that, but
yeah,
just ignore them.
Okay, I maybe should have, said that they should have, but at the same time, yes, the people of Texas. It's not only the government's problem to, look out for the people. Like, if you want to know what the weather's going to be like, especially during December, check the weather. I'm pretty sure people got alerts whether they checked it or not on their phone.
Or if you want to be a caveman, just check the sky. That helps too.
Yeah, even that. But it's like, I don't know. What people were saying in the comments, our Texas never gets this much snow, or Texas is never like that. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure
just because Texas never gets it doesn't mean it can't ever.
You can't check the weather and be prepared as a company like you imagine how much money Rooster Teeth could have been making if they had produced content. Not even just that, but they took a year or two to release after Ruby Volume 8 came out or whatever. It was a good year or two before they actually released Ruby Volume 9, which wasn't even on their own app. It was on Crunchyroll. It's like, you could already tell they were starting to decline and go down.
That's actually news for me. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But aside Rooster Teeth having its downfall, they're going to shut down soon anyway. So
they are.
So,
Guys, since they're shutting down, we are going to be the new Rooster Teeth here. So go follow and like and subscribe and ring that bell for notifications and all that stuff big rizzy YouTubers like to say.
Yes, and we like today's topic, like Sayonara Wild Hearts. We are also small, and we would love all the support you guys can give us. It's appreciated.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you for joining our episode officially about Sayonara Wild Hearts. I urge you people to play it I would urge you all to play it if you people can. If not, it's okay. Please do try it though. It's really fun, and I hope you all have an amazing time playing it as much as I did.
Yeah, well guys, it appears that's all the time we actually have today. Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our pilot episode.
And we have plans to release an episode every Thursday, so stay tuned for our second episode.
And as always, you can scroll down to the bottom of our website and click on any social media icon to access our socials, such as YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram.
And feel free to contact us on our contact page with your suggestions and ideas. We look forward to hearing your feedback.
I'm also available to chat on Discord at Riderheart. That's all lowercase RIDERHEART. So feel free to scroll down and download that if you don't have it, or reach out to me. It's open for everybody.
Well, that's all. Plan to hear from us again next week with our next episode. As always,
Sayonara, Riderheart.